So just
It's
on there.
uh, we adapt, right? And that actually does segue over into well, using different processes is good because when you're locked into one linear process, every project's different, whether it's time constraint, tools available, and just really what is need to be done. But in terms of articulating your skills, maybe there are some designers out there who understand coding or have different levels within their own T shape. So specifically, when you're combining it, firstly, is it okay to combine showcasing your skills of coding and design
Mhm.
during, and whether it's the whiteboard challenge or app critique, or would be much more recommended to focus on a linear path?
Mhm. That's a great question. So, couple pieces to break down there. So, I truly believe that no designer starts from zero because you're always bringing valuable context from your previous role or previous like domain. Like I have one designer that I'm mentoring that's a CS student that is now trying to become a designer. And I advise him to like, go for the companies that require a lot of like engineering coding context. So
Mhm.
he was able to get advice and build up the career narrative and the right case studies to, get interviews at like GitHub and like um, I don't even know all the coding companies or like the coding software companies, but that's an example, right? Your context is always going to be important. Um, sorry, I forgot the second half of your question. If
Yeah,
you
best
briefly, yeah, repeat.
best showcasing those skills and whether it's appropriate or not.
Yeah, I think you always want to. So how you should see it is like the big three skill sets: product thinking, interaction design, and video design. That's table stakes, right? It doesn't matter how good your other skills are if you don't meet the minimum requirements for these three. So once you
Mm.
feel like you've demonstrated like a deep enough proficiency in the big three skill sets, then you can spend a lot of time talking about all your other skill sets and other contexts and how they're specifically relevant to your role or that role that you're interviewing
Mhm.
for. Don't take like a random shotgun approach where you just like list off like I've done this, 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 this. I'm good at A, B, C, D, E, because you're just going to lose your audience. Be very deliberate about what information you include and emphasize and which ones you don't, and make sure you can articulate the value of how it'll make you a better candidate for that specific role. Like
Mhm.
I've done like a lot of like illustration and sound design, but it's very irrelevant for most jobs, so I don't bring it up. But occasionally, like this one time, I had to do a contract for like a iOS video game, and then I was like, okay, like I talked about my sound design experience once I felt like I demonstrated the big three already, because I felt that was uniquely valuable for that role. But
Mm.
like if I interviewed for like a FANG company, then I would not talk about sound design unless I felt like it was relevant.
No,
Does that make
thank you for
sense?
that. Yeah, it makes sense. It's really just kind of showcasing that you can really focus on the three major skill sets as your foundation as a designer, your
Yeah.
product thinking, interaction design, and visual. And then where you stand out in terms of your unique background, that's when the opportunity is to kind of showcase that.
Yeah, I think a common misconception in the industry is that, so taking a step back, there's two types of capital markets for jobs.
Mhm.
There's a auction market and a, oh God, I forgot the other word. It's an auction market. There's two, oh, the first market is like, it's very driven based off one specific skill set. And like
Mhm.
everything is just based off that one skill set. So, for example, athletes, chess players, musicians, actors, there's only one skill set to really master. So you put everything
Mhm.
into it. Um, and the second type is auction, which is more of what I was talking about. Like it's more about best fit. Like
Mhm.
one designer might be like a lead level within one industry and one problem space, but be junior somewhere else. For example, like if you put me on an AR design team right now, I'd be like an intern, or even worse, I probably wouldn't get the job. But if you put me on a consumer growth product, I could be a lead, right? So it really
Mhm.
depends. Um, and a lot of people kind of take this approach of like shotgunning their design skills and shotgunning their design story narrative. They're like, hey, I'm a designer. I've done all these projects. These are all my skills. And like, in the resume, they list like 50 things. It's like,
Mhm.
how is that relevant, right? Like, that just tells me that you're spread really thin and you don't specialize in what we need. So be very deliberate about how you present your skills. Um, And yeah, sorry, that's a bit of a ramble, but that's
No,
where I'll
it's
start.
great because it really does show that design's not just, I think the term is a winner take all
Yes, yes,
market.
got it. Yes, you've been paying attention.
Yeah, I bet, just taking notes once in a while when we talk. But yeah, it's so that's a beautiful thing about design is that it's unless you're looking for a specific person with a specific T shape, a lot of your various skill sets are needed based on the project. And so it's very rarely that this one designer is the best designer and we want this designer,
Mhm.
because it's very hard to be the best when there's so many various different perspectives,
Yeah.
and that design can contribute as an alleyway. Yeah, so it's really that flexibility that helps us just kind of grow.